Well, hello and welcome. I'm Sue Britz,
And I'm Tina Lokkbakk. Welcome to Retired.
the podcast where we talk about what life is like when we put on new tread, new wheels that move us to our next adventure. And that adventure might be just turning the friggin' news on.
Every day, I'm kind of disappointed with myself because I'll tell myself, don't look at the news. But then I can't help myself because I'm like, what happened overnight? Like something else major probably just happened. I gotta know. I should know. So, yeah. What's your latest shock?
Well, I can't help but include. I mean, there's so much to choose from, but do you go with the global threat of nuclear death for the entire world, or do we go with the Minnesota incident where we're gunning down
Yes,
lawmakers and at their home and their
I know.
spouses and with their children in the home and all this stuff? Um, I don't. Yeah, where do you begin?
Well, I don't know. I think we should talk about the backstepping. So if you work on a farm in the hotel industry, restaurant industry, and I think butchers,
Oh,
you get to stay. Apparently,
right.
we're rescinding on the people that are vital, and clearly they're not the felons and criminals that are going to take us all out, but everybody else is.
That was an interesting thing was that you go full on ice on everybody
Yep.
and gather, go into work sites and just
Yep.
stir it all up and throw people down, including U.S. citizens,
Yep.
in violent manners.
Yep.
And then, oh, by the way, let's just not do that. Let's change tact. So you don't. Here's the thing: is you don't know when it's going to be systemic to the point where it's
Yep.
getting everyone. And when it's just business as usual, which is, uh, there's that new phrase, taco. Trump always chickens out, where he changes his he goes forward fast and hard, and then we'll just change that, and we'll stop doing that until maybe the next time. So you don't know how to deal with that, and that's part of what he loves. That's
I don't
part of
know
what he
if he
loves.
loves it. I don't even know if he's aware of it. It's a covering up of it. And let's just say that his personality is something I'm extremely familiar with. And through much legal advice, I was told to just know that with this personality, uh, always expect the unexpected. That's the one thing you can expect, the predictability of the lack of predictability. And I'm seeing this so clearly played out in a bigger level. And I think that's why I'm morbidly curious to see, what else is going to happen now? What else will be said to other countries in the world? But I do have a little plug for Cuba. So, Dawn, if you're listening, I would totally recommend the purchase of Cuba. It would be the answer for them, and it would be the answer for you. Because instead of having a party place out there in Gaza and take it over, you've got an island 90 miles away from your home that's just waiting to be helped and is dying to get out of its financial straits. So why not resurrect Cuba and all of Havana and own Cuba instead of Greenland and Iceland and all the other
Oh,
places?
Tina, don't give him these ideas. Like Cuba wants him. I mean, please.
Actually, they want anybody at this point.
I don't think
It's
I.
it's a free fall.
Okay, correct me, please, if I'm
Okay.
wrong, people of Cuba. But I don't think people of Cuba want to be U.S.
No, owned. No.
Yeah,
They don't want to be owned. They just want independence with some economy going on.
right.
I
And
understand.
yeah, that's a lot different than buying the island. I don't know.
It
That
is.
seems
I just
really.
thought if we're into the
Oh
island
God.
grabbing, then why not grab that one? because it's so close to his home.
I
It benefits him
don't
immensely.
encourage this. I mean, that's yeah. I'm serious. I mean, geez, no, he's not into helping economy. He's not into to looking at the big picture and trying to help the world economy and people who are suffering. No, he would want to go in and take over and buy and own, and that's not
Of
okay.
course.
No.
No. And then I was thinking what would come along with that would be the saddest, egregious, kind of like a deja vu experience where all the Americans would go in, buy everything up, destroy the environment.
Yeah.
It would, I know.
Let's not wish this on
But
Cuba.
we have to start finding some humor in things because you either laugh or you cry.
Yeah. Okay, I get the humor part, but giving him more ideas of things that he can do that are wicked and horrible, yeah, I don't think he needs any help with that one. Did you
Yeah.
see any of the or hear about any the parade that he did?
Well, I did a quick 19-second BBC, and I didn't see much of anything. It
I
was
love that.
truly nothing.
Yeah.
So as I was kayaking last night with my friend, he was explaining that there was a no show, like
Mm-hmm.
hardly anyone showed up. And what really pains me, and this is another discussion we had last night. So if it's estimated to have been worth 25 to 45 million dollars, I'm just wondering for all the vets that are out there on the street with their legs blown off, asking for money, or the vets that have wanted to buy a home, or the vets that need medical and mental health care, if they had been given the vote to spend 25 to 45 million dollars on a parade or put it in towards helping them in life, would they have voted for the parade? What do you think, Sue?
Yeah, and then there's the issue of what all that machinery does to the street. I mean, those are just two of the entry level concerns, let alone how it looks, how it what it says about the infantile and very much authoritarian look that he wants to give himself. And that's disgusting. I mean, just that itself is another whole issue that we're emulating uh, dictators rather than emulating or honoring those who serve our country and protect it. You know, yeah, it's disgusting. What I really appreciate, and this was part of the purpose of the No Kings protest, was to uh, I guess originally the No Kings protest originally was not even supposed to be coordinate with this day, but the fact that it did, it worked out really well because the news became the massive crowds, the tremendous crowds of people all across the nation, across the world, in fact,
Demonstrating.
who demonstrated and
Yep.
demonstrated peacefully. Everyone was, all the quote protesters, demonstrators were peaceful. There was that one horrible incident in Salt Lake City where
Yeah.
the dude came out with a gun and a bystander got shot and killed, which is horrible. But the fact that I mean, we're talking over the whole country and the world because there were other protests on the same day, millions of people. So you've got proof that what people are doing is still democracy, thank God, where we can go out and protest. And that is the highest level of patriotism, is to call out your country when it's doing things that are wrong and stand for it. It was interesting. My daughter came over yesterday. Uh,
Oh.
we had dinner, but we also did a recording for Moving On, part
Oh,
of our
yes, you
our
did. She
yeah,
came.
our retired
Beautiful.
thing. So that will come out too. But so we were talking about the No Kings protest because of course I went. I didn't go to the one in our state capital, which I would have
Mm.
preferred to go to, but
Yeah.
because Highway 80 was closed, and so
Oh,
the traffic was going to be a bear, and I didn't want to deal with
yeah.
it. So I ended up going to our county seat, and they had
Good for you.
a good crowd. It was like between 3,500, 4,000 people. There were a lot of teachers, a lot of people we saw, a lot of older white people, like we were all laughing about this. But here's what I was saying to my daughter was people, the older white people, the retired people,
Thanks for calling it out for
we
what it
need,
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
we need to go. We need to put ourselves, we're the ones that need to,
Benefited from all the other things. Now
that
it's maybe our
too.
turn.
That too, but I think it's also incumbent upon us to stand up and be those numbers, be the protest, put ourselves there because we're not at risk in the same way as a people of color would be, as my own daughter would be walking in a protest. Just by virtue of your name or your skin color, that you could be taken down as an American citizen and put in jail for a while until they figure out who you are, if they figure out who you are. So that's another beautiful thing about being retired is that I have less to lose. I don't want to lose it, but I have less to lose. So if
Gosh,
there were,
really good point.
yeah, if there's an opportunity or an opportunity that provides a message for civil disobedience, we're the ones that can afford to do that. We don't have to go to the job the next day.
You're right.
And yeah, so it was an honor to be able to participate in that.
Thank you.
There were some good speeches and everything. I really was glad to see our representatives out there and giving, for the most part, some really good speeches. And then, so the other thing I was saying, because my daughter, she said, you raised me to go to these things, and I would go, but she felt afraid. She said, I feel afraid. This is
Wow.
what 34 is doing, creating this environment of real fear, and I can respect that. Everyone has to work within their own
Comfort
feelings
level.
about it. Yeah, their own comfort level and their feelings about what they're doing. But again, that brings home that idea of our generation
Spot on. Yeah.
need to be the ones to have the courage to go do that and to stand up and not just that, but make the phone calls, call your representatives, call the other representatives, and send letters, postcards, whatever it is that you're doing. But get all those things done. Keep resisting and persisting in that. Yeah.
To defend democracy, and it is my pleasure now to introduce Senator Christopher Cabaldon.
Hey, Yolo County. This week, what we have seen is an escalation not beyond what we could have imagined or feared. It's an escalation we knew was coming. And now is when it really matters. We've seen children waiting at home for their parents to come home in Los Angeles, who will never see them again. We've seen babies arrested. We've seen United States senators thrown to the ground, members of Congress arrested and charged with felonies. We've seen threats to arrest governors. We've seen threats to arrest judges. This is the moment that we have been preparing for. And it is absolutely critical that all of us stand together. And I say all of us because this isn't a rally about the issues. This is a rally about whether we can preserve a democracy and a constitutional republic so that we can fight about the issues. We can disagree about this topic and that topic. That's part of what makes America worth fighting for, is that we are to become a more perfect union. And we do that by protecting our rights to free speech, to free assembly, and to vote, and for a democracy and the institutions that protect us.
I was so glad to see that the news was not around the parade, the quality of the numbers, what happened, or to see it all on the news, because there was nothing, quote, nothing else going on in the news, which there's a ton more going on in the news. But that they didn't spend a lot of time on that, and that instead the positive demonstrations that occurred that showed people showing up and saying, we've got to get some sanity going back into our country. We need to assure our democracy. I was just very pleased to see that in the news cycle. So yay.
Yay.
Well, and then we go on to what's going on internationally. Okay, talk about another one who likes to wag the dog. You've got this Gaza war going on, and like that's not enough to have to deal with. And then just like, oh, let's do a preemptive strike on Iran. And now, of course, has responded, and there's no off ramp. They just keep throwing back and forth, and where does that go? And how do we, not the people there on the living it? I can't imagine the fear and because it's existential, really, truly. Because yeah, but then it's going to conflate. It's going to go into neighbors. It is affecting the neighbors and the world already. And so, what do we do? Where are we? What times are we living in? My God,
I don't even know what to say about that, but this is my experience. So where I lived when I lived with you in that cute little town, our next door neighbors.
Oh, just to be clear, you did not live with me.
Well, okay. Well, in the town with you. And my next door neighbors were Iranian. And I learned a lot about their culture, their language, everything. And their two daughters were the same age virtually as my two daughters. And hearing their stories about having to leave in the 80s and to really understand what a beautiful culture it is, how forward and progressive it was until it was taken over and they had to flee. And I think about the people that are there now, in a different light, because now I know them and I know like their families are still there and how it's a beautiful capital. There's so much wonder in it. The only positive thing that could come of it is maybe it will create an opening to get the country back, before the 80s.
And so you're talking about a similar thing as with Cuba, you're saying, to change the
regime altogether.
Yeah.
That maybe this is something positive can come of it. That's the only thing that can keep me sane.
I don't know that that there's enough quote positivity there, but it's so. I mean, right now I'm looking at the news and it's saying that they struck the state television of in Tehran. They're saying that it's going to be military related stuff, and so this is in a residential neighborhood. The destruction of state television headquarters. So, I can see what that relates, but, now you're hitting neighborhoods and you're killing civilians. And what do you expect people to do in response to that? Yeah. Our world is crazy. So coming back to the whole thing, we didn't have a specific topic that we want to talk about today. And this came up very quickly. It's like, the adventure is turning on the news or waking up. I mean, and taking that for granted too. Waking up and what do we get to encounter during the day? The part that gets me is all of this stuff. I think even the Middle Eastern stuff. It's all because of one person's evil folly. And
I don't know that it's so evil as much as it's so infantile.
But it's gone to another level besides infantile. I mean, because he is an adult. He is, quote, intelligent in some ways. I mean, he's very good at manipulation and in lying. He's a master liar. It is evil. And the people behind
we could call it master. I could just say
master
that it
liar.
happens.
Okay.
I don't think it's a master.
Okay.
I don't think there's mastery in it. It's just a trait.
Well, I call it master because he does it dripping in every sentence practically, and he gets away with it. He's Teflon. How has he gotten to be in the presidential seat?
Because we allow it.
Yes, and that's my next point, which is now similar evils have gathered behind him or with him, and are solidifying this. This is the disgust. And then, of course, we have the American people who voted for him. Not all of them, of course, but about half. And there we go.
Totally changing direction. I heard that Walmart is now going to start increasing their prices. And that's something else that I've been waiting to see what will happen when, let's say, our dollar store becomes the $2 store.
Well, it already is a $1.25 store, you know.
Well, it is. I never call it the dollar store anymore. I make a point of saying it's a $1.25 store. But I was just saying, is it going to be the $2.50 store now? And I think about all the people, because I live in a community where I think a lot of people depend on it. As I was explaining to my friend up where we lived in the land of wealth, it was always stocked. I come here and it's always empty. And I think it's because people rush in there and get it, because we have a large immigrant population up here who's running the tourism industry behind the scenes. And a lot of people that are on government support. So what happens when the $1.25 store becomes the $2.50 store? Because, of course, everything's imported from where?
Yeah.
China. So I wonder if there will be more protesting at that time, because now they won't even be able to eat. They won't be able to buy the food that they need. They won't be able to, I don't know. I just feel like I'm just waiting for that shoe to drop when it really affects the majority, I hate to say it, of our American people. If we were to break down financially, I have not looked. I just know that we have like the top 5% make billions. And then there's the middle class, which is almost obsolete. So there's not much in between. So if most of us are hanging at the bottom, that $2 is double, and there's no income increase. So at that point, I'm thinking there might be a sort of American revolution. I don't know, but I just feel that when those prices hit those people, that's when it's really going to affect our situation, and maybe a stance will be taken. That's my thought.
I think it's starting to happen, and I agree with you. The demographic of the people who voted for 34 are people that wanted the price of eggs to go down and groceries and stuff. And, when you destroy trade, especially with our friends, North and South, your best trading partners.
East and West, everywhere in the world.
Right. And then you take away people's jobs, just let's just choose whomever and get rid of all their jobs, and then go, oops, I didn't know that would have that impact. It's like, hello. And then, just the prices going up. Now, that's not, the trade actions did that stuff. And then you bring in the ICE to take away people who, we promised criminals. We're going to take criminals and remove them from criminals. People who are here.
I guess they're considered
criminals who are here illegally. So the assumption was, everyone understood it was not just we're criminalizing the act of coming to our country illegally. We meant people who were
criminals,
who were raping and killing and involved in gangs and stuff like that. So when you're elected under that idea of we're going to cure the economy, and then you're killing the economy, and then you take away people who are the ones providing for the economy, not criminals, people who are people who may be here illegally, but also people who are, and we see this more and more in the news, thank God, who are our neighbors, who are our friends, who are employees who've been working forever. And that's when the American people stood up and said, no, no, no. When you see in Los Angeles people saying, enough is enough. No, when you come in and just blindly go through a whole garment area, or you go to a field and you're chasing people down in the field as they're doing the manual labor to pull the food from the earth for you.
Making it affordable for us.
Yeah, but people have said no. And we're standing up, and that's starting to happen. This No King thing came out of and expanded because of the ICE raids. And then we have the attack on our California senator, throwing him to the ground when he's asking a question. And, when you start seeing these things on top of everything else, and we're what, in June? Okay, it's not even June 20th yet. It's not even a full 6 months.
We haven't even made a half a year.
Right. So that's when you get people finally to start saying no. And as it continues to get more negative and more hitting them in their pocketbook and in the real world of their life, then yeah, you're going to have people standing up. The question is, what will happen in response to that? And that's what's really scary.
That's the frightening part.
Yeah.
Because we haven't even reached the economy yet.
Yeah.
Right? Right now we're dealing with one political issue and we've got troops sent in. The National Guard. So now what happens when the economy hits and we double the population that's demonstrating?
It's not even the National Guard that you're looking at. It's bringing in the Marines, military soldiers whose job is to defend the country. They're not used to, they don't know what it is to police. Right. They are
trigger on an American.
Yes. So that's
oh my
already...
God, you just made me sad. I just want to cry. I never thought of that. Can you imagine?
Yes, that's what it's happening, Tina.
I hadn't had that visualization. I hadn't connected that feeling of being someone that's training your right to protect your country. And now it's like, that's like being forced to kill your family.
Well, they're not even, my point is they're not trained to do policing services, which is what the National Guard
Police
does.
Are for.
Okay, right. And National Guard would do it in extreme measures. And so the National Guard being sent in against the governor's request is wrong. I mean, you're just totally accelerating a problem that's not even there yet.
Right,
okay,
right.
And then you bring in active military who are supposed to work with defending the nation. Right. And so that's the danger. So when you finally get people to wake up, and those who voted for him to wake up and go, hold it, we need to put some brakes on here. This is not what we thought we were signing up for, which is like, I don't understand that, but whatever. That's the problem. So what's going to happen when people do finally say no, or if they say no enough with enough numbers and enough force behind it, hopefully peaceful force behind it, is what's the reaction going to be from 34? Yeah,
predictably and unpredictable.
Right. And that's the thing, is we don't know. And it could be anything. It could be bombing you. It could be, I'm a taco. I don't know. I'm just going to let it go. And I don't think so, though. There's too many infrastructures in place that Project 25 is too, and the people behind it are too organized. It's scary. So in response to all this, we have to have moral courage, especially those of us who can afford to do that, afford it with our time and our energy and our very will, and keep persisting, keep resisting, and do so peacefully.
3.5 years.
Well, that assumes that there's going to be democracy at the end of that 3.5 years.
I was actually just making that comment that that's a very long time. If what we see is already in month 6, my thought was, my God, can we survive it? Because that's a very long amount of time.
It is. And when you're destroying the whole infrastructure,
trying to, and this is what I've said from the beginning, trying to. That doesn't mean it will happen. And now it's really going to show what can our systems in place actually withstand, because it's never been tested.
In
so
this
this
way,
is where
yeah.
we just have to have some faith that the parameters are going to hold in the end.
Yep. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America.
Amen.
I am a state senator in the fourth largest economy in the world. There are 40 of us. I represent 1 million people. I have exactly the same amount of power in this fight as each and every one of you. Each and every one of you. Every social movement to protect democracy and civil rights comes from the people. Do not wait. We are the heroes we are waiting for. Thank you for being here. Keep up the fight. Keep up the battle. We can win. America's worth saving.
Thanks for listening. Now let's pack up this week's episode of The Trunk.
Ride shotgun and be a part of our adventure by clicking on the plus sign to subscribe and follow our show. This will help our ratings and, more importantly, inspire us to keep creating fun and engaging content. We would love to hear from you in the comments sections, or email us at retiredpodcastnewtread@gmail.com. Use the fast track lane by sharing episodes with friends, family, and anyone who would like to join us on a road trip through retirement.
Be sure to check the show notes for links and contact information. Retired is chauffeured by Sue Britz and Tina Lokkbakk. It is produced, directed, and edited by me, Sue Britz. Music and graphics are by me too. Buckle up and tune in next week so that you won't miss your chance to join our retired road trip. So, blowing off steam, I guess.
I don't know. You know how I felt from the beginning, that I didn't want to talk about these things because it's so disturbing. There was also a part of me that I just wished and hoped that maybe it would be okay. And it's not.